Biz School is brought to you by Neon Canvas. Neon Canvas is a digital marketing boutique. You can find more about Neon Canvas at neoncanvas.com. Welcome, here it goes. This is the first episode of Biz School with Alex Rasmussen. I'm going to be teaching you all things business. I am a businessman. Everything I do and know is about business and is business. And there's just so many aspects to tackle and unlayer to understand what goes into running a business, consulting other business owners and how to run their business and help them make money, that I want to share this in a way that's no one's ever going to do for you, right? So business owners don't just open up everything that they do inside of their business because they give their competitors the blueprint. So, I don't give a shit about that. I don't care if my competitors have my blueprint because, A, we're going to be moving so quickly, but by the time they figure out what I was doing when the content came out, we're already going to be on to the next thing. B, they don't have my team. We have built a team that is the best at what they do, and we empower them. We trust them. We treat them like humans and adults. It's the reason why right now in my business, we haven't let go of a single person. And in fact, we probably need to hire a couple people because they're all self-sufficient. They can all work from home and get their job done. They're all professionals and the best at what they do. So that's the reason that I'm not worried about telling you guys how to be more efficient in your businesses, how to build great teams in your business, how to make money in your business. There is no doubt that these are the most challenging times that we have ever seen in our lifetime. We have been told that we cannot work. I serve in a niche in an industry where the government has literally told them that they cannot work. They cannot practice. Thank God we can at least work. Now, I've got other business interests, like the Airbnb business, that is just completely in the shitter. People can't travel. I've got notes and mortgages, rent payments due on these properties every month. And other carrying costs like internet, high-speed internet, and utilities. The whole gig economy behind that, the people that we pay to clean the units, all to just come to a screeching halt. Now, am I just going to roll over and die and say, forget it, I give up? No, hell no. We're going to fight. I wake up every day and I run. I run away from failure. I run towards success. And at the same time, I've got more time with my family than we've ever had before. I'm with my kids and my wife, and thank God my wife works in my business now. That she can help us get through these times as a mother, a wife, a fellow business owner. She gets it. She's in the trenches with me, and that's one of the most important and best decisions I have ever made, was to get my wife into the business, understanding what goes on day to day. Now, with any business, you don't have a business without clients, without customers. And this is where you see the difference between businesses and freelancers and contractors that work for those businesses. I have some amazing contractors that work for us, but I'm not their only source of income, and which is why they are contractors. Amazing. I mean, they get paid every 2 weeks just like my employees do, or twice a month, just like my employees do. And we couldn't run our businesses without these contractors. But the difference between those contractors And our business is we have the clients. Okay? And that is what makes a business a business. You have to have clients. Now, if you don't have clients, you have to get them. And we'll dive into how to do that. If you have clients, you have to keep them. A month ago, our goal was not just to keep our clients. It was also to get new clients. We were growing. Every business that was alive and thriving in the right industries a month ago was growing. The economy was unlike anything we had ever seen before, but I knew, and a lot of other pontificators about the economy and business also knew this couldn't keep up forever. And here we are in an election year, 2020, a new decade. And in the first quarter of the year, there's a pandemic. Now, smart business owners were ready for this time, knew that this time was coming. And this is the time. This is your moment. Great small business owners who are employing 90% of America. This is the moment that you have to be your absolute best. And for all of you wanting to start businesses, you've now been forced to do it. You've been laid off from your job, or you're not certain about your job's future. You're not certain about the economy. You have to bet on yourself right now in this moment. This is the time to go all in, to believe in yourself, and to have great mentors and great coaches who are going to help you get to where you want to be. I didn't get here alone. I didn't get to where I am alone. So let's get into that. Let's get into where I am, who I am, and why I'm doing this show. I always grew up wanting to be a businessman. I grew up in the 80s, born in 1981. Between 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, really, that's a very interesting micro segment of generations, because they came at the tail end of Gen X, and they are not young enough to be millennials. But my parents, had the early cell phones, right? Then that were in your car, the cell blocks, the one that cost you got like 30 minutes of talk time for $100 a month. And, you blew that out in one phone call. It was for emergency purposes only. But by the time I was in high school, graduating from high school, I had my own cell phone with unlimited talk time. That was 2000, the year 2000. So an early adopter. But what wasn't sexy back then, or what wasn't the buzzword back then, was this word entrepreneur. No, it was called businessmen. I wanted to be a businessman. And they were in college is a little thing that many of you know is Biz School or business school, that offers you concentrations in various parts of business. Some of the most popular and well-earning of those in business have been accountants. Accounting is in the business school. Marketing, economics. And then you've got various offshoots of those key sort of concentrations that make up the business world. So what I wanted to do was own and run businesses. It wasn't just one business that interested me. It wasn't just one area of commerce that interested me. It was all of business that interested me. I was fascinated by the greatest businessmen in the world. Donald Trump at the time, now our president, but at the time as a kid, you're thinking like this was a great businessman. Warren Buffett, Steve Jobs, shaped and molded by this time of these great men. Fred Smith, right here in Memphis, where I'm from, who were shaping our society and were shaping with one company, with one brand, ideas and economic ways of life, propping up an entire industry like logistics or retail or technology. It's fascinated by that. But those businesses weren't just great at one thing. They didn't just have a great product. They had great businesses, great acumen to do all of the things well, to do marketing well, to keep your books well, to invest smart, to leverage debt correctly. There's so many facets of understanding what goes into a business that you can't just be great at one thing. You have to be a jack of all trades if you want to be a great business owner. But here's the key. In order to be a great jack of all trades, you've got to have a lot of masters on your team to shade your weaknesses, to cover those areas. And they got to be good, and you got to trust them. You got to love them. You got to keep them. Because they are valuable. They are going to help you get to where you want to be. They are the most valuable asset that you have. They are going to shape your culture, your workflows or processes, if you want to call them. They are going to lead you to the success that you want. So I'm fascinated by this world with no idea what or how I was going to make my money. And again, not just passionate about one thing. I watched my parents acquire real estate property throughout the years and was fascinated by that as a wealth building tool, real estate. But I loved marketing and sales. Those were always where I was able to shine, where I felt like I was the best of the best, right? I had great ideas for marketing and how to execute those ideas into a return on investment, how to use marketing ideas to make you money. Marketing and sales are like peanut butter and jelly. They go together. Both of them can go on other things and do quite well for themselves, but when they work together correctly, you are going to be a market share leader. If you can figure those things out and keep yourself out of debt. Keep your company out of debt. Bad debt. Understand what smart debt is. And Biz School is going to help you unlayer all these things. Week by week, show by show, we're going to go into these individual items. What is good debt? What is bad debt? We'll have experts on, but it's going to be me leading you through this journey and us learning together, growing together. I'm here to be your guide, and I want you to be heroes. Just like our friend Donald Miller talks about in Story Brand. Understand who the hero is and understand your role in all this. My role is to help guide you through business school. What they're never going to teach you in business school. And I know this because that's where I started. I started in college in business school. And my story is one of a bumpier road. I didn't take the Autobahn through business school and into grad school and into business ownership. That's not my story. My story was one of grinding, learning, failing, succeeding, failing again, succeeding again, and I'm sure I'll have more failures. But that's what motivates me every day, is to run away from those failures, to protect my family and take care of them in a way that they are shielded from the darkest parts of our society, the darkest pieces of earth. Not in a way that they don't understand them and can't help and have compassion and empathy for what happens in those places, but so that they don't have to experience that. That drives me. That's my why. I understand that, and I lean all into that. And I'm not expecting that to be your why, but you've got to understand your why to get there. And that's something else we'll uncover. So I went to business school, but I was a good 3 months into business school when my high school sweetheart, we'll call her, says that she's pregnant and that it's my kid. And it turned my world upside down. I didn't even know if to believe it early on, or I didn't know what, I'm not rehashing all that, but I had no idea what was about to happen in my life. So, I probably ignored it for the first month or two. And then, I get this email and it's from her, and she'd been going back home to Memphis, where we were from. I was in Starkville, Mississippi, not too far from Memphis. And I get this email and I don't remember all the details of the email, but there was a line in it that I'll never forget. And she said to me that you will never see your son. You'll never be there to watch him grow up. And it hit me to my core. That wasn't what I wanted. If I had a kid in this world, I definitely wanted to be with him. Now, I've learned since that time that there's a lot more factors that go into that in a broken home, in a separated marriage, a divorced marriage, than just what you want. There's a lot of things that go into it when two adults decide to have a child together, or don't take the correct precautions not to have a child together, and then they separate, and that child's life is thrown into a world of chaos. Not saying it can't work and can't work well. Our soon-to-be 19-year-old child has come out quite well of all that. He's an amazing, amazing individual who's going to do great things in this world. But it's not been perfect. But that's how my adulthood started, was as a dad. So I didn't have time to start a business or figure it out or not make money. I didn't have daddy's money or mama's good looks. I had to go to work. And that's what I did. I went to work. And at the time, I thought, I was passionate about our First Amendment and the law and standing up for people who couldn't stand up for themselves. So, I wanted to be a constitutional attorney and a Supreme Court justice. And I thought, hey, this is the path to that. I'll work in the legal field. It didn't take me a long time working in the legal field, maybe 6 months to a year, before I realized this wasn't everything that I wanted out of life. And it wasn't all that it was cracked up to be. And the path to where I wanted to get was a long, long, long path, and not guaranteed for any type of success. So in that time, I started sharpening my skills and my teeth in other places. As a high schooler, and I found out that one of the quickest ways to make money was in the service industry, an industry that's being ravaged by this pandemic. People who have built their lives in the service industry, restaurant owners, bartenders, servers, cooks, and they've just been completely shut down with no way to make money. But this was, in high school, for me, a great way to make money. I could work 1, 2, 3 days a week and make, $200-300 running money to get me through the week or more. Lots of flexibility. I could give up shifts or pick up shifts. So it was a really good thing for me to make money and survive in my teenage years into my 20s. I learned a lot of skills, built a lot of relationships in restaurants, behind bars. Another thing I realized too is when I was behind the bar, I wasn't out spending money on the other side of the bar. So it was almost like paying myself twice because I wasn't out blowing money and I was in there making money. So a really smart decision for me in my 20s. But you make a lot of sacrifice for it as well in order to make that money. If you want to really make money from it, you got to work. And that's just like anything else. You got to put the work in. So I would live and survive on that money, that tip money. And in the meantime, be working towards finding my path, my career path. So like I said, that started in the legal field. And I'm grateful for that time because I met a lot of great mentors. People with really, really great advice. Attorneys have great advice. And if there any time that they are ready and willing to give it to you for free, you shut up and listen. Now, I don't always take their advice, and that's the reason I need attorneys. That's the reason that they're an important part of your business. No matter what they cost. It's a business function. It's an expense that you need to have prepared for. You have got to spend money to protect yourself and protect your business. So my time in the legal field, I learned so much about running businesses, what to do, what not to do, what's a sound business decision, what are risky business decisions. My time in the legal field formed a lot of my ability to make decisions quickly and without a lot of regret. Knowing that if I made a mistake, that I put the necessary measurements in place to protect myself. Because you're going to make mistakes. We are human. Mistakes are going to happen. People are going to disagree. But if you CYA covered your ass, then you're going to be fine. And a great attorney is going to help you weather these storms. I'm also grateful because this gave me my first shot at entrepreneurship. So I got into a little business called private process serving. And what this is any time in the legal world when one person sues another person or files specific types of papers within a lawsuit, these papers have to be officially handed over to the other side, to the other party to the lawsuit. This is called service. And it's really a pretty simple thing to do. You've got these papers, you hand them to the person, you tell them they've been served, and then you fill out a form and you tell the clerk's office this person was served. Pretty simple thing to do. And as I'm working in these law offices, and you're seeing all this paper going out, 5, 10, 20 a day, pieces of paper being filed and then served onto other parties. You're seeing these, as the position I was in, as a runner in the law firm, I'm seeing these papers in my hand. And then I'm dropping them in a box for some guy to come pick up and go off and serve somebody. So a lot of these are easy services to other attorneys or businesses that are easy to find. And I start just saying, hey, why don't you let me drop off these papers and serve these papers? And instead of paying this guy that you don't know and you're not helping him build his business, help me out. Help me, build a business. And we even get a better rate maybe, right? It didn't have to charge them a lot less, maybe $5 per service less, but it's still at $35, $40 a pop at 10 a day. You can do the math. You can start making some real money here. This is early in my 20s. So that was my first shot at entrepreneurship, if we're using that word. My first shot at being a businessman and making money working for myself, was serving these papers, because sometimes these papers would be served on an individual who didn't want to be served papers. And so you might have to get them at 6 o'clock in the morning banging on their door, or 2:30 at night in the middle of the night to catch up with these people. So you're doing this on your own time. You're not doing this necessarily during your work hours. So after that had run its course, made good money, and went into the legal field, was serving papers, was bartending, making this money, probably doing pretty well for myself in my early 20s, right? Scraping out, a minimum of $60,000 to $80,000 a year. Some years, in my 20s, probably even better, maybe made $100,000. And the reason for that is because I had found sales. After my foray into the legal field, I started to realize, being behind the bar, that I had the gift of gab, that I had the ability to talk to people. And through talking to people, you get fascinated by them. You learn about these people, and you learn about their lives, and you see people's successes. They share their successes. They share their horror stories, their lost stories, and you start to build relationships with these people. And I realized that ultimately that's what life was about, what business was about, what sales was about listening, caring, building a relationship with people. And then eventually those people become customers. And yes, they are customers of you, but before that, there was a relationship there. And that relationship will last long after the business relationship comes and goes. And I think that's important here. I think that's something that you have to realize if you want to be a great business owner and you want to build customers, is you have to be in it for the relationship and not in it for the money. The reason that I charge for my services is because I know that I can pay for myself to my clients. Their return on the investment, that the money they give me each month, can be as great as 10 to 20x, maybe more. Huge, huge returns on the services that we provide. I can help give them the lifestyle that they've always wanted in exchange for the price that it would cost them to go hire a new employee who may be a cost center for them. I understand my value in the business relationship, but that does not cloud the personal relationship. Just like right now, when I've got these customers coming to me who have been told by the government that they can't work, and they need to be able to not pay their bill for a month or two to keep cash tight, to maybe keep employees. It's my job to figure that out with them, to help them, to come through this together. It's also my job to continue working for them, regardless of what their outcomes are. Maybe that doesn't continue forever, but right now, in this moment, it absolutely continues for a month, for 2 months, for 3 months. We can get through anything together. We can get through all things together. We are stronger as one than we are separated. We are Americans. We are united. There's a reason that we stand together and are the most powerful country in the world. Because we work together in these times with empathy, with love, with passion, with brains, with sweat, to be successful together for one another, to create jobs for one another, to create wealth for one another, to create opportunity for one another. So after private process serving in the legal world, getting into sales, I cut my teeth in several sales jobs. I was a headhunter for medical reps. If you don't know what a headhunter is, this was probably one of the toughest sales positions there is, because you're not dealing with a product that is a set product. Someone shopping for a blue Dodge Charger is not the same as someone looking to change careers, potentially move cities, move companies. Things can change on a dime. I learned more about professional sales when you were dealing with guys who were making high six figures, women, men, in the top sales positions in medical companies in our country, talking about changing their lives. You want to talk about building personal relationships. So I did that for a while, and I did that right into the 2007, 2008 economy crash. Crazy time to to be in the job search world when everybody quit hiring. So as that dried up, I started to realize I had a passion and affinity for using social media to connect with people. Facebook, LinkedIn, MySpace. This was a brave new world, and opening up connections to people that you wouldn't otherwise know or have access to, that I was fascinated by. I read a book called Crush It by a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk, affectionately known as Gary V. And if you've never heard of him, go look him up. It won't take you long to head down that rabbit hole. And Gary taught me about chasing my passion. And it was very obvious to me at that time that my passion was in this digital world. How to leverage all of these people that we could easily connect with for the good of everyone else around us, for the good of your friends and family and clients. And so I got into consulting, teaching businesses, small businesses, how to use social media, how to leverage it for their business, how to just start a Facebook page, how to do advertising on Facebook, on Google, how to build a website. This was in 2008 when the iPhone was just becoming a popular product, when the computer in your hand was just beginning to become popular. Now I can't imagine what life even looks like without an iPhone or a smartphone in your hand. It's a crazy thought to even try to begin to fathom what our world would look like without the technology that we have today. Just 12 years later. So I'm a grizzled vet of the technology world. One of those early sales gigs I had, was finding my way back in the early 2000s, was for a technology company called iWorks, selling one-page websites on subdomains. So I've been interested in this technology and early adoption of technology for a long, long time, and understood that eventually the internet is how the entire world was going to work. Little did I know that it was going to take a pandemic to force it all to happen almost overnight. Almost overnight, if your business cannot operate online, it cannot operate at all. And that doesn't hold true for everything. Obviously, farmers are going to be increasingly important, grocery store workers, delivery drivers. But online commerce is going to drive everything, all things. It was almost always that way, but now everything. In 2010, I was having to convince businesses that they even needed a website. In 2020, if you don't have a website, you're dead. You're done. If you haven't figured out how to leverage social media and online media and marketing, you're dead. You're done. So that's where we are today, right now. We are in a new world, in a new business landscape, and I'm going to teach you how to navigate it all. I'm going to teach you my secrets, what I do, how I've built my teams, how I've built my clients, how I'm surviving this, how you're going to survive this, how you're going to start a business that's going to come through all of this more powerful than ever before. You're going to gain market share. Together, we are going to do this. We are either going to teach you how to start a business, or we are going to take the business that you already have and we are going to propel it farther than you could ever imagine. This is Biz School with Alex Rasmussen, and we're in this together. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to the first episode of Biz School with Alex Rasmussen. On the next episode, we're going to take you into part 2 of the story of where I am, who I am, and how I got all started. We'll dive deep into how I started Neon Canvas with my business partner, Dr. Kyle Fagala. It's going to be a great episode. Be sure to tune in.